They say that software and the internet have been eating the world for the last 25 years. So you'd think that the world would have been all eaten by now. You would think that every business process had been transformed by this revolution. Not so for the more mundane world of accounts receivable and collecting on past due debt. The same old practices that have plagued that industry for years are still ruling the day. Dialing for dollars, verbal and written threats, collection agencies, lawsuits. I might have a few uncles who are in that business. Collecting bad debt is not a core competency of most businesses. But if you have 20% of your revenue in past due debt, it has to get done. And it usually does get done, just not very well. It gets done poorly. You're taking your eyes off the prize, what your core business really is about. You wind up with large write-offs, inefficiencies, and at the end of the day, nobody is really happy. Bad feelings all around. Enter Siyea with a modern approach to getting companies paid. Their cutting-edge technology has already delivered impressive success metrics to more than 8 paying customers. They're pointed at a huge market, which is a real pain point for virtually every business that I can think of. I like the market, I really like their scalable business approach, and I love the team. Matt and Christian, the two co-founders of Siyea, are the perfect blend of the hustler and the hacker. You'll soon find out which is which. They're quick studies, and they have eagerly engaged with industry experts that we have introduced them to. They've really picked their brains clean. These guys are ready to scale, and they're ready to bust the status quo in accounts receivable. I present to you Matt Shapiro from Siyea.
Thanks for the intro, Mark. Appreciate it. It's been nice getting to know you, and I really appreciate your help too. So I see StartFast decided to start and end with the 1,000 hours in the gym, guys. Thank you. So I'm Matt Shapiro. I'm co-founder and CEO of Siyea. At Siyea, we are changing the way companies get paid. We're helping them get more effortlessly. So how we do that is with our modern approach. We're really changing, well, actually, there's a lot of CPAs in the room and finance people, but for those who are unfamiliar with accounts receivable, I'm going to be saying it a lot, and AR. Accounts receivable means a business bills for their good or service provided, and their customer pays them at a later date, hopefully. And so whenever an invoice is generated, an accounts receivable is created. So I learned about this problem when I worked for a really large call center like this. It's usually the #1 strategy between large companies chasing down their customers who haven't paid them. This large retailer I worked for, they had a credit card, and when someone didn't pay their credit card, they got a call from me. I'm charming, but not everybody who called them was. And so a lot of times, you know, these people, when I did get a hold of someone, they were really angry because they're connected to a robodialer. So people are actually allowed to call them 10, 20 times a day. So when someone finally did answer the phone, they said, "Why are you harassing me? Everyone's harassing me." It was terrible on the customer relationship. Also, when, you know, the times that I did talk to someone, it was just so rare. I mean, nobody answers their phone anymore. I rarely answer my phone, even when my mother calls. So no, I do. But it's just a really big problem, and this is their whole strategy, and it doesn't work. So why are they still doing that? There's a lot of other processes in place. Mark was talking about some. They've all been in place for decades. Everything from mailing mean letters, trying different talk tracks still over the phone. They all result in no payments, no account resolution, which then leads to write-off, which then goes to a collection agency. $792 billion went to a collection agency in 2016. So all of those processes I just went through, look how well they work. Our process is much better. So we have a lot of technology. We use AI as well. We also have a proactive approach that's proven to work. So we use data, a lot of different ways. We feed that into our AI. Our AI not only analyzes customer behavior, so we get ahead if somebody is late. Like if they haven't even looked at their invoice, our technology notices that and says, well, if they haven't looked at their invoice, they're probably not going to pay their bill on time. So we start messaging them to get ahead of the problem, to even avoid a late customer. If customers are already late, our AI creates a payment plan for them. To not define AI, we'll just call it software, fancy software. And so when that tailored payment plan is created for the individual person, we send that electronically, either through text and email. They can then review the terms, and the late payment is resolved. So the whole process works on autopilot 24/7. It goes from data, analyze, plan, very quickly and without any human interaction. So if a customer has a billing problem or question, like at 1 a.m. when the call center is closed, if they even want to call in anyway, our software is there to help them and resolve the bill. So one of the ways that we have demonstrated our success is 40% AR resolved in the first 2 weeks of going live. Right. Woo! Yeah. And usually we get our first payments within a couple hours. So if there's any doubt in the organization still, in the first couple hours they get a payment from someone who has not been paying them. It's a big fat zero on the ledger for accounting people. And they've been ignoring all of the calls and all of the communications. And the reason why is because it's the wrong message, and they're not offering any help. We offer tailored help, and that's why they respond. So in addition to, let's get specific. So we're actually working with a 300-person law firm. I'm sure a lot of you have thought of different industries we can help. We have killed it in legal, so we're going to focus on that a little bit. This law firm has $100 million in annual revenue. 20% of that is just sitting in unpaid AR. That's 1 out of every 5 customers who hasn't paid them. I mean, for you business owners or even non-business owners, could you imagine running a company where 1 out of 5 customers doesn't pay you? That's the reality in legal. When they use our software, they will get $8 million within the first 2 weeks of going live with us. That's what the expected outcome is.
I hope you charge them $4 million.
Yeah, that's a great question. So how do we get paid? We show you how we get our customers paid, and how do we get paid? We have a traditional SaaS model. We have an entry-level price of $10,000 per month, and then we also charge $1.38 per transaction. We're financial technology, so fintech, running payments, a lot of times takes a transaction fee, so that's what we do too. Right now it actually ends up to be roughly 80% of our revenue per customer. So that menial $1.38 adds up. One of the things that we're also doing is looking at other markets. Or excuse me, we're still on this market. It's a large and growing market. If we look at just the 200 largest law firms alone, and we use the industry average of 20 to 30% of unpaid bills, that's $27 billion just sitting there, not getting paid. We also know that this is a growing problem because in 2018, the industry grew by 8%. So the problem's on the rise, it's not shrinking. So now we can get to some other markets. We get inbound leads from enterprises, huge, some of the largest companies in the country and in the world, all the time. We know the problem is there. We're looking at having them be end users and some of them partners. So some of our largest multi-million-dollar deals in our pipeline right now is Wipro, one of the largest IT services companies in the world, and Navy Federal Credit. It's the largest credit union in the country. On top of that, we're looking at strategic partnerships like CFO plans. It's an outsourced back office in finance, and so a lot of these companies, they can not only use our tool, but they can be resellers. And so we're looking to scale rapidly at this point. The team, why we're the best team. We do have a hacker and a hustler. That's Christian and I. We met in San Francisco. We used to put together events like this sometimes, and networking events, other panels for entrepreneurs in San Francisco. I have over 10 years of enterprise sales experience. I know how to find the big deals and close them. Christian, he is a development and data expert. He also has a lot of expertise in strategy. So he's been really great at mapping out our tool, where we're going to go, what gets developed and when. He's incredible. Both of us have had business ownership in our backgrounds, and we really bring two separate skill sets to the table, and it works out surprisingly well. So one of the things that we're doing now is we're raising money. This slide order is hard. So right now, $750K will get us to where we are profitable. That will take us to September of 2020. At that time, we'll have $222,000 monthly recurring revenue. So we're looking for help. We need your support to help us reach our goals. You see our pipeline. It's going to happen one way or another. There's an easier way for it to happen. And that's with raising around right now. So we will be around, or I will be around. My co-founder's not here. You can meet him another time. But I look forward to chatting during the reception. My name is Matt Shapiro with Siyea. Thank you.